everybody. Sorry for a change in scenery. But I've been putting off making this video for a very long time, and I figured I really need to do it. So I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna do it up here in my room because I don't want to go through the trouble of the even tiny setup that I have to do in order to film downstairs because I'm lazy right now. Yay! All right, so let's talk. So we're gonna talk week 19. Now, secret is I am filming week 19 on week 20 because once again, it can be really hard for me to film right now. Things are very busy and stressful. So, but that's okay. But we're still gonna get this done. Okay, so week 19. Let's see, we do cravings and symptoms, cravings, and big things. Okay, so spoiler alert, big things, nothing happened. I went to the dentist. Actually, I guess I could talk about the dentist real quick because this is actually kind of interesting. So when I went to the dentist, told him I was pregnant. I was supposed to be doing x-rays, so they actually canceled my x-rays because I was pregnant. Interesting things you find out. So they canceled my x-rays. I basically just did a cleaning and they noticed my gums, which I've always had like a little bit of an issue with my gums in terms of them just being like, they're not great, but they're not bad, but they're not great. But that's also a thing that can happen during pregnancy is that's what causes gingivitis is stuff with your gums. So, they're not too worried about it. They're just like, make sure you floss, which I'm bad at. But they were pretty cool. They were like, everything looks really good other than your gums, but that's a pregnancy thing too. So the funny thing is in my head, I'm like, okay, 6 months from now is October. October, I should have like a couple week old baby. So I talked to them and I was like, hey, so I'm not gonna come back in October, obviously. So I'd rather just put it on the schedule and have it there so I don't have to remember to call you. Cause my nurse was like, or my dental assistant was like, you should call us when you're ready. I'm like, no, put it on the schedule. So I'm like, oh yeah, I figured I'll come back in like a year. And she's like, oh, with your gums the way they are, you really should come back sooner. I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm tentatively scheduled for December, in which case I'll have a 3 to 4 month old, and we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be fine, but just one of those things that's like, oh yeah, there's like other things I have to plan around. Huh. Okay, but that's the only big thing that happened in week 19. Symptoms, general morning sickness is definitely still there, but it's subsided quite a bit. I'm getting a little sick at night now, but I think that's mostly from me. I'm still figuring out my portion sizes, which sounds really weird. But one thing that myself and my friend who is also pregnant have been talking about is since your stomach is so much smaller now, really what it is you just got to eat throughout the day, which this is what your doctor tells you to do anyway, but the way that life and work is scheduled out, don't always get to do that. But they say, eat a little bit throughout the day and then, and don't eat like big meals. Yeah, I can't eat big meals anymore. I really can't. If I eat big meals, I feel like I'm going to barf. So, that's a fun thing to deal with. But it's not morning sickness, which is good. It's a different kind of nausea, and that's a nausea that I can at least control. Still definitely getting acne. We're also transitioning, it's spring, so we're getting a lot of warm weather, which is so great. Yeah, so I know my skin is already bad, and with the warm weather and myself sweating, I just know it's gonna get worse. So I'm like, all right, bring it on. Bring it on, we can do this. My insomnia is kind of there. It's occasional. Like every once in a while, I'll have a bad night. But I've also had some really good nights of sleeping through the night. So I guess whatever is working right now, something's working, and that's all that matters. Cravings, Still nothing. I'm so boring. I have nothing interesting for cravings. I just kind of still want salty foods, but I don't want salty foods. I don't want to eat still, so it's definitely, I told my parents, I feel like it's like anti-cravings I don't care. I don't really care what it is. I just don't want food, but I know I have to have food, so that's fun. Let me think. I think that's actually it for week 19. Week 19 was pretty basic. So I figured what I would do is, this is where I'm gonna get into some TMI stuff. So if you're not interested in some crazy TMI stuff, then I'll see you next week. But what I really want to talk about is some things that like, I feel like people don't talk about. Things that have been happening that it's not necessarily taboo, but nobody wants to admit that these things are happening. And, you know, it may not happen to you. If you are pregnant and aren't experiencing any of these symptoms, great. But I've seen a lot of people talking about this that makes me go, I think this is actually like, this is common enough that, or these things are common enough that I think it's okay for people to say them out loud and not feel like they are a bad pregnant lady or a bad mom or, you know, whatever. It's just, it's a thing that happens when we're pregnant. So this is where we're gonna talk about that stuff. Like I said, if you're not interested in that, see you next week. Okay, so for those of you who decided to stick around for this part, so pregnancy is definitely something I have not been prepared for. You know, I work in a daycare. I've worked with kids for a long time. Motherhood is something that I probably feel the most prepared for motherhood in my life, like out of anything that I've ever done. Pregnancy is not motherhood though. Pregnancy is 9 to 10 months of nonsense. And so this is that nonsense that I want to talk about. So the first thing, and this is something that drives me absolutely crazy because I'm a planner, and this is not a TMI thing, this is an annoying thing, but being a planner, I like to mark down when things are happening. Did you know that 9 months is not 40 weeks? How annoying is that? So when they say 40 weeks is the way that the doctor specifically looks at when your last period was to your due date. It gives you a pretty solid amount of time for baby to be grown to full term. What 9 months is it technically counts the 9 months counts the 2 weeks after or the week starting at conception, which nobody knows that exact date unless you're tracking. And even then, generally people have like 3 to 5 days of possible fertility. So you're kind of in a more general window with the 9 months. And so it's just generically 9 months. Yeah, I really wish people would just say 10 months. I'm not gonna lie, that would make life a lot easier. But, you know, I guess enough people give birth early and stuff that 9 months is still a realistic thing to say. Whatever. Okay, so the next thing I wanna talk about, we're gonna get into body stuff. You guys ready for that? Okay, so, this is a more common one, so it's not gonna shock anyone. Holy crap, my stomach has become so hairy. And it's not even the fact that it's hairy that really bothers me. Like, hair doesn't bother me at all. What it is like, so I'm blonde naturally, and so like having hair is like whatever. I started getting like really, really dark hairs all around my belly button, and I'm like, ugh, I don't know, that part is just like, that to me is what tells me that I'm getting hairier. It's because, oh my, like I'm getting those dark hairs around my belly button, which that's weird. This might be a plus size only thing. I will never be able to say the word correctly, but there's like a line that goes from the top of your belly down to the bottom when you get pregnant. As a plus size girl at 20 weeks now, even though I'm talking for week 19, haven't seen that line. So my apps keep talking about it. I don't have it. I feel like that's not a big deal, but whatever. It's a thing that I'm not seeing. So I feel like that doesn't mean I'm not pregnant, but it's weird. Okay. Now here's the big thing that I kind of wanted to talk about that's really part of the TMI stuff. So one thing that is supposedly common knowledge, but if it's not, that's fine, is, you have a baby sitting on your bladder. So pregnant women pee a lot. Now, you also have morning sickness, so you throw up a lot. I've gotten way better at handling this, but a lot of times when you're throwing up, your muscles are all doing the same thing, so you end up peeing. So, and it sounds really weird to say out loud, which is why I'm laughing, but like I said at the beginning, I've seen enough things about this that I feel like it is a common enough thing. Like, be aware you might pee yourself while you are getting sick with morning sickness. Or even if it's not morning sickness, if it's nausea and you're feeling sick, like, it's a thing. It probably is gonna surprise you for a little bit, because it did for me, but like, it's a normal thing. So my small bit of advice is make sure you got a trash can in your bathroom. Keep it by the toilet. That saved me a lot. Now at this point in my second trimester, it's gotten a lot better. Still stinks. Still is not a fun thing to think about or have happen. And I'm so sorry to anyone who has had to deal with this same crap, because it sucks. It really is not fun. And it's unfortunately a thing that I've experienced multiple times and heard of people experiencing multiple times. Gross. Oop, kicked the stand. I think the only other thing is, and once again, this is, maybe it's because I'm plus size, but baby kicks. So I started feeling my baby kicking around 16, 17 weeks. Definitely not a whole lot, just like a little, it was like tapping. Like people say like flutters. I don't know what the flutter is. I also don't like that word, just because it sounds like you have a butterfly in your tummy, and I don't know, that sounds weird to me. But, so I definitely felt like taps, like little boops. And I felt that back 16, 17 weeks. I can definitely tell that I'm feeling baby a lot more, but I haven't been feeling kicks as much. And so this is something that I have noticed more and more, and I'm so proud of myself for finally figuring this out. But a lot of times I was feeling I was feeling these like jabs up toward, it was like underneath my rib cage, and it was low. It was too low for it to be like my heart, but it was too high for it to be what I thought was baby. Well, in my 11-week sonogram, baby was on their back. And I realized babies can be on their back. So instead of kicking out, I'm pretty sure my baby is on their back, kicking up towards my ribs. Thanks, kid. So that is what I've been feeling. I've also been feeling, it's so weird. I get why it's so hard to describe, but it's almost like I can feel when baby is really shifting. So So like especially if, and it must be their head or their butt, but like when their head or their butt is up at like the front of my stomach and they're going like over, I can feel that. I feel that movement. So I feel like it's almost like if you have like something, like if your stomach's burbling, that's almost the closest I can use to describe it, is that. And it's also like if they're, even if they're not at the front of my stomach, just like that movement I can feel. So that's, I'm filing it under the weird pregnancy stuff because it's hard to, it's weird to talk about because everyone just is like flutters and kicks. And I do feel like as a plus size girl, it does make a difference. Right now, my husband has only been able to feel baby when they've been moving, not when they've been kicking, but they've also been kicking a lot less, at least out towards my stomach. Or maybe I'm not feeling it because I do have a bigger stomach already. I don't know. Point is, I'm feeling the movement inside my stomach. I'm feeling it a lot. Not feeling the outside as much, but I'm also only 20 weeks, so it should be fine. And with that being said, that is where I'm going to end today's vlog. Going way too long. I thought the TMI stuff would actually not take that long, so I was like, I'll just throw it in with week 19. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end if you have. If you haven't, hey, nice to see you again. It's okay that you skipped the TMI stuff. You're okay. Let's see, baby dust to anybody who is currently trying, sending it out your way. I send you lots of love for your TTC, and congratulations if you found out you are pregnant. That's so exciting, and I love seeing all the pictures of the babies in general that have been flooding my Facebook feed because everyone seems to be having babies, and that's so exciting. So thank you guys so much. I will see you next week for week 20. Bye!